Hi guys, how's everyone doing? I have new lighting. Ta-da! Santa brought me some new lighting for my video, so hopefully there'll be no more lighting issues. Anyway, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I do apologise, but I still wanted to do a review for you guys. And I've chosen, because my nose is a little bit messed up, I've chosen to do a fragrance that I've gotten to know a little bit, well, a lot over the last couple of weeks. I've worn it quite a few times, and it's Bijou Romantique by Etat Libre d'Orange. It means romantic jewel, and jewel, I said that really funny. This is Etat Libre d'Orange's nod to something a little bit more vintage. They are kind of known for being a little bit more modern in their compositions, a little bit more daring, a little bit unconventional, but this one is what they describe as their version of a guirlandade. And a guirlandade, just to explain to you, is a term used in the fragrance industry for fragrances that use the same base as Guerlain's Jicky. So, for instance, in this case, it's very much like Shalimar. Shalimar by Guerlain is Jicky with lots of vanilla added. So anyway, let's go through the notes. So the top notes are bergamot and lemon, as well as pink pepper and orris. The heart notes are ylang ylang, clary sage, and coconut, which is slightly unusual because I don't really smell it, but it's in there. And the base notes are vetiver, benzoin, patchouli, and vanilla. So I'll spray it on my hand, and I'll start by saying that I can't really do this review without mentioning Shalimar at all, because it does feel like it's in the same territory as Shalimar, which, if you don't know already, is a classic amber, leather, vanilla cloud with some animalic notes and some citrus notes. This fragrance is definitely in the same category. Excuse me, I can barely speak, but I don't really care right now. Oh, side note, I hope you guys had a nice Christmas. But this to me feels like what Etat Libre d'Orange have done is they have changed the classical elements and the classical characteristics and brought it forward to the 2000s. So yes, it does feel like Shalimar, but what you get from this is it's got more of a twang to it. So it's weird because it feels like it has roses in it. I'm not sure why. It feels like it has Bulgarian rose. It's got that kind of sweet floral twang. There is a powdery element coming from it, but it doesn't feel so vintage powdery like Shalimar does. It's a more modern powder, and there's a kind of smoothness running through it. There is no animalic notes to talk of. There are no citrus notes really that jump out at the beginning. There's only a touch of it, whereas Shalimar is very lemony in the opening. I'm trying not to do a comparison review, but they are in the same territory, and it does feel very much like a modern twist on Shalimar, so it's very cool. The pepper is there, but it's quite understated. I wouldn't call this spicy. It's more vanillic and ambery, but in this case, the amber in this doesn't feel like a classic amber like it does in Shalimar. It feels like a more modern amber. It's coming from the benzoin side as opposed to maybe the labdanum side, or whichever ingredients they used to create the amber in Shalimar. I'm not sure, I can't remember right now. Brain cloud. One thing to note is as well that this is a lot sweeter than Shalimar. I feel like the vanilla was kind of tempered a little bit from the leather and the civet and the animalic side that's in Shalimar. This throws a lot more sweetness at you, benzoin and vanilla, and although I can hardly smell it, I have worn it lots of times recently, believe me. I've worn it at least 5, 6, maybe even more times. But yeah, I feel like they've made this purposefully as a nod to the vintage, but brought it up to date so that it appeals to a much wider audience range. This would be a Shalimar for maybe a younger person, if that makes any sense at all. I hope you can see me. I hope I'm not overexposed. I hope this light really works. Yay. They say that it has a subtle vintage quality, and I definitely get that from it. It is one of the most vintage smelling fragrances that Etat Libre d'Orange have done that I've smelled. Also, Putain de Palace, but that's a soft, powdery boudoir sort of fragrance where, because of the ambery feel of this one and that classic guirlandade base, that's why it feels like it's just a nod to something from an older time, but while still feeling very modern. There's an almost jamminess to this fragrance, like a sour jammy twang or a sour jammy tang that I'm not sure what that's coming from. That's why I feel like it's got Bulgarian rose, because it's really jammy and floral in that way. It doesn't really smell like ylang ylang to me. It feels like roses, and I'm not sure why, but that's just how I smell it. When this fragrance starts to dry, it really ramps up the sweetness. The vanilla really takes hold of it, and it feels almost like a syrupy vanilla when it's dry. So that's where I think it kind of starts to move away from this vintage feeling, but still with the touch of it there. You can still feel that there's this Shalimar-esque feeling about it. Lovely. I get really great longevity out of this one. It's got a lot of rich notes, it's got a lot of deep notes in it that really make it stick to your skin, and it's definitely, it kind of stands out from the crowd, I think, where Etat Libre d'Orange tend to favour leather, because, you know, they like to be a bit naughty. This one feels like it's very departed, and it's one of the most feminine ones I've smelled in the line, as well as Putain de Palace, and also, don't get me wrong baby, that's a full-on feminine floral, but this one is definitely in the feminine bracket. I get at least 8 hours from this. It's a great fragrance for that. And I think if you love Shalimar, but it does feel a little bit dated for you, definitely try this one out, because that's the path it kind of leads you down. Like I said, a more modern version of Shalimar. So anyway guys, this was a really sweet and short review, only because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm still here, don't worry, I've not gone anywhere. If you'd like to get this fragrance, head on over to natino.com or .co.uk, they sell it there. I will post direct links below. I hope you guys had a really nice festive season. New Year is approaching, and I'm trying to think if I'm going to do a video for New Year or not. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm up, so I'm going to go down there to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon for another review. Goodbye.